To mark the launch of our annual European Shared Services Conference in October this year, I've invited Guy Mercier, one of our previous speakers, who is GBS lead from Solvay, to come and talk to us about some of the themes that we can expect to cover at the conference this year. Guy is GBS leader at Solvay across 2,600 FTE and is also Chief of Operations across 4 end-to-end processes. Guy, so this will be the 3rd time that you've been involved in our conference. And I think the key topic that's come up and you've started to explore the last couple of years is that of the customer. It'd be interesting to start off by understanding where are you at with that focus on the customer that I think has become so pertinent in our discussions.
I believe that this is an area where the GBS, we did not focus enough, or we didn't really focus from the right perspective. So let me first explain where we are today. Because in Solvay we are among, let's say, the mature to advanced GBS, where we really put the customer relation at the center of our strategy. What we did, we put in place 14 business relationship manager. The acronym is BRM. Those people are relatively senior manager inside each global business unit, so each business of Solvay. We have one senior manager called BRM, which represent SBS, but also represent the GBU in our multiple process committee whatsoever. So this man or lady, senior, he's the voice of the customer from a physical perspective inside the GBU, very important, and inside the GBS. But that's not enough. It's not one man or one lady who can make the difference. Then what we decide also to do for the last four years, we launch not only a survey, because you know the problem of the survey, you launch that once a year, then it took you 3 months to analyze the result, and it took you 6 months to implement things, and then here we are the next year, you ask exactly the same question to the same customer. What he explained to you didn't work last year is still not working. So what we decided to do is to go more lighter on the customer feedback on a quarterly basis. So here we have the BRM, Business Relationship Manager, inside the business, designated a population of 100 key users in their business, and they ask opinion to those people every 3 months on the performance of the process, performance of the service, what works, what doesn't work. And we use very much that customer feedback on a quarterly basis to really focus on the very bad customer. That means when we say very bad, it's very bad scoring from the customer. We call them the red customer, and we call them, and we want to see what we can correct. So thanks to this quarterly feedback, we can really embrace a continuous improvement. Here we are, we have Business Relationship Manager, we have the customer feedback and a customer survey. So great, we are scoring 3 point something, 3.47, very happy. We went from a scoring to a net promoted score, and the net promoted score, we were very poor, 17%. That means only 1 customer every 5 customers would propose to anybody else to use our service. Could you imagine if we would be a third-party customer? It's just a disaster. Today, we are above 50%. We are close to 60%, which is really fabulous, because as soon as you have more than half of your user and customer population doing that, is great. But it's not enough, because we realize that the everyday relation with the customer and the user is very difficult, and we create a single point of contact. Because among those surveys, we realize that, let's say, the major theme is, I don't know who to talk to. When I look at your GBS, which is called Solvay Business Services, am I supposed to talk to an IS because it's a password problem? Am I supposed to talk to your hire to retire? Am I supposed to talk to my local guys? To whom am I supposed to talk to? And the customer were lost. So we said, okay, let's develop 80 people in a network called single point of contact. And this single point of contact is absolutely not the exclusive one. It's the one when you don't know to who to talk to, go for it. We did 2 things. We developed on a cell phone your contact in SBS. We call that My Contact to SBS. And that's a list of if you have a problem with an invoice, a problem with T&E, you know, the classic 10 problems we can pollute your life as a manager. You go, you have intranet of Solvay. With your name, your position, your location, we can immediately tell you who's in charge of that problem. My contact in SBS, 24/7 on the phone, chatbot, all of that in the single point of contact. And so we said, okay, no, the world is perfect.
I think the theme of customer is obviously a key theme this year, and I think to some extent that's been forgotten a bit the last couple of years. Why do you think we have forgotten the customer? And you know, what are you specifically doing for your vision going forward on that?
Wow, it's a very good question, Emma. To put such an organization in place is the minimum you have to do. So my advice for all the people starting shared service or being multifunction whatsoever, don't forget there is a customer outside, and first measure. But your question is that having done all of that, we were still far too complex. And so the problem is that why did we lose track of the customer? We try time to time to look at them, but if you look at the essence of our business, it's cost reduction, process efficiency, or even worse, standardization. And by doing so, what did we do? We tried to go offshore for the cost, which means far away from the customer centricity. When the customer is expecting us to be in their site, close to them, to see, they love to see you time to time. They love to interact with you. Yeah, guess what? Bye-bye. We go so far away that we barely speak your language. We are not available at the same time zone except through night shift. So we were focusing too much on the main driver, cost reduction, and too much on process standardization, which is a result of what? No. That's too specific. We don't do. Or if you try to do with us, it will be so costly and so complex that you will be totally frustrated. Because the essence, most of you, we were born in finance. You know, the very first shared service was this financial family, which mainly is cost-driven and efficiency and compliance-driven. Try to talk customer. It's very difficult to talk about customer. Now with our new CFO in Solvay, he started to push us to be almost customer obsessed, but the real customer one, the one outside Solvay, the one we all work for, is the external one. And so because of this process-driven, process standardization, cost-cutting, we were losing completely the track of the customer.
And given those drivers of efficiency, kind of, you know, low cost, etc., how do you reconcile that as well with the focus on value? So surveys that we've done at the moment and also working directly with clients suggest that there's a real focus at the moment on analytics and value creation. But again, how do you marry that up with those kind of underlying principles that have driven this industry since the outset?
You try to trap me in the concept of conflict. And let me just reposition things. You're right. In terms of what? Most of the time we said quality is not possible with low cost. So we try to pretend in this service, if you want low cost, service industry, if you want low cost, because we are offshoring, do not expect high quality. No, sir. In any industry today, when I'm using my cell phone, I'm expecting high quality, and I'm putting my phone under cost competition with the other. So why in every industry the driver is high quality, low cost to create margin, and on top of that, user-friendly, user experience. Apply those three fundamental concepts to the shared service. So for me, there is no conflict between quality and cost. You have to be high quality. Sometimes good is good enough, but you have to be lowest possible cost whenever. That's your heart, okay? Then the concept of if you want to be customer-centric, you cannot be everywhere. No, you have to be standard. No. I will tell you that by making this sign with my hands, we used to be process owner, process ownership, and we try to control if those are location of all my businesses in the world, we try to impose them the way to work. In the future, shared service has to be under everything, connected everywhere, and then you don't have any conflict between customer and efficiency. Because the efficiency will be in your platform, the data here, and your customer centricity will be where you connect with people. Go and collect the data. Make the personal data. Make the personalized outcome. So my answer for the future, the driver is cost, efficiency, and standardization is our problem. It's our shared service condition to perform. Nothing to do with the customer. When you talk to the customer, you have to talk about centricity, intimacy, and personalization. More than specific personalization. You have to treat an employee in Solvay the same as an Apple user. When I switch on, you go to the App Store. In the App Store, I choose what I want. This phone answers to my request.
So specifically then, Guy, what are you doing in Solvay on that value creation for your customer? How are you getting to the point where the customer looks forward to interacting with you as a GBS?
The first way to create value for the business is to partner with the business. And let me give you a couple of examples. The first things the business is expecting from us, it's a guarantee of lowest possible cost. That instead of doing that themselves, to run the payroll, to close the books, or to pay the invoice, I trust you, Guy, and your SBS to make it top quality, top compliance, lowest possible cost, and for sure, lower than whatever I can do myself. But second, value creation, you cannot create value in a GBS without partnering with the BU. Couple of examples. We worked on overdue, order to cash. We started to create value when we started to work in an intimate way to fine-tune the customer segmentation. Instead of making reminder to all the customers the same way, we sat and we spent days for free, no project cost, with each GBU, and we say, who are your strategic customers? Who do you want we collect the money there? Is there a special channel? Do you want to compensate a discount? How do you want to make discount? By doing that, by creating this real business partnering, we were able to bring, and I will make a lot of people jealous because we are best in class for that, from 9 to 10% overdue, we went down to 6% overdue. By targeting, fine-tune, specific customer segmentation by GBU. First things. Second things, the famous payment on time. Yeah? The POT, famous KPI. Everybody, when you cross people in the corridor, tell me what's your payment on time? Oh, I'm at 85%, I'm at 90%. Because by forcing everybody in Solvay to have a clear purchase order, exactly the same as the invoice, exactly the same code, and if not, you don't pay, you send back, you destroy. You ask again to a business guy to take care of something he already did. He ordered valves, the valve, the equipment is installed in the plant, and here we are, he received an email, could you confirm, could you confirm, could you confirm? Instead of going payment on time, we were going, the same concept as for the customer, right on time. And the right on time, it's tell us, sorry, it's a public, so I have to be careful, but like in any company, tell us how to pay and when to pay, depends on the type of material, etc. Raw materials, go for it. Strategic equipment, go for it. The rest, maybe wait for the first reminder, which is decent. We don't wait, we pay every week. But the on time became right on time. Thanks to that, we gain a couple of points on working capital. We generate cash flow, extra cash flow available for the business to invest. But the most important value we can create when you're partnering with the business is your agility. You do not appear as a monster. That's the monster wanted to control everything. There it's, tell me where you are, I will work with you. If we have time, let me use a very short example. M&A is one thing, merger and acquisition. I have a huge story on that on SciTech. The acquisition, last one of Solvay, $5.6 billion. We made this integration in 8 weeks. The boss, the executive committee member, Roger Kern, called me and said, Guy, we need your SBS to go fast on integration. I said, great. Roger, we can do it, 6 to 8 months. I send to you 10 guys. I say, no, you don't understand me. 8 weeks. It was October in 2016, October, and he said, for the end of the year, I want the 3,000 employees to know exactly where they will work in the new Solvay group. If they will have a job, where they will work. I said, come on. And so we did it on the reverse. We say, okay, if we have only 8 weeks, we put consultant in New York, we work on this platform. I put my guys in the plant, my 15 guys, they were not in Lisbon waiting to receive information. They took the plane, they spent their life in the plant, and in 8 weeks we integrate. Huge value added, because with a clear organigram, you run the business.
So you're talking about value in terms of simplicity to some extent, having the data that can inform business decisions, and also agility. On that point around the sort of data and analytics, recent survey, a lot of organisations are prioritising this analytics journey, but also what I'm seeing is that organisations are struggling to get the data to be in a position that they can move forward on an analytics journey. How did you approach that in Solvay?
We are relatively mature to advance in that domain. Why? Because we have first a dashboard. We use ClickView. But immediately, as I told you, when you talk about value creation, it's not inside the GBS that you create the value. You create value for the GBU. That means you go and propose things for them to create value, because the real business value is in the GBU. Example, one day when a GBS will tell me that they are making profit, I say, wait a minute, you are not supposed to make profit. The one who's supposed to make profit is the GBU. So here we are with our ClickView, our dashboard, because we use it for the millions KPI. You know, in the shared service industry, we love KPI, benchmark. We don't talk to each other by names. We talk to each other, you are that payment on time, that overdue, or that cycle time, etc. We immediately go to the GBU guys and we say, look, we have a tool there. We have 6 people internally. If you want, we can extract data for you from SAP to make special sales analysis. And by making sales analysis, we started to generate value with them. So first of all, on the data mining, I do believe is the essence of our industry. We are sitting on tons of data. What are we doing every day? Processing data. We got data in, we process data out. Hey, wait a minute. Spend time to analyze what you got in and analyze what you get out. So I do believe with this RPA is a tool. RPA will free up resource, use that resource to go to predictive analysis, predictive data. That's where you will make the difference over the next 2 years to help the business. When they are running their business, they visit the customers, make predictive analysis, make profile of an employee, the guy who's often sick, the guys who got a lot of training, propose career. We are today in Solvay in the HR database making a career posting on a very predictive analysis. We started the pilot 6 weeks ago. It's a pilot where, based on everything we know from your data, and we use only internally and with your agreement, the machine will propose to you available position. That's where we start to generate value. Predictive is the future.
You mentioned there about robotics,
Yep.
and obviously robotics has been a key theme at our conference for a number of years, and obviously more and more organisations are exploring artificial intelligence as well. Our recent survey suggested that around 53% of those shared services centres we'd surveyed had adopted robotics, with that looking to increase quite significantly over the next couple of years. But I think the interesting thing with robotics is that we are yet to see that really scale. Why do you think, as an industry, we're still struggling with, robotics and automation technologies?
Yeah, scalability is the right question. And thank you to ask the question on the scalability side and not on the why robotic. Because I do believe if you look at conference a year ago, everybody was trying to see what's in the robotic. It was very hype, very hot, very topic. For that, let me clarify one thing before to go to the problem of scalability. It's very funny because we made POC, proof of concept, like everybody, to look at what's in the box. But as a manufacturing guy, because I'm an MBA, but also graduated in mathematics, physics, and chemistry, so I love to work with Solvay, chemical company, multi-specialty, because it's a real business I know quite well. When you look at what's happening in the plant, in every plant of Solvay, we use robotic for the last 20 or even 30 years. We call that not RPA, we call that APC, automatic process control. Every plant in the world are managed by a control room, from a control room, where you have a computer managing the valves, opening, the temperature and everything. Explain to me, Emma, why this computer can manage something as sophisticated as a chemical plant and cannot manage debit credit. We are just so late in administration that it's time to catch up. So what we see in robotic is just a catching up of 10 years delay in applying smart technology to our domain of activity. So here we are. Don't ask any more questions. Go immediately pilot. Go immediately and see what's in it and try to have it small scale to go quick in order to do what? Scalability.
But on that point of scalability, what's holding us back? What conditions need to be different for us to speed up and catch up with that kind of manufacturing industry, to your example? Is it IT that is kind of not necessarily embrace this tool? What is it in your opinion?
I search for it. If I would have the perfect answer, I would have used myself. So let me share with you why we are stuck also with scalability. In 2016, we started 3 pilots on P2P to see how easy is it to robotize a process. And we failed because our process is so specific that a robot cannot be used. Lesson learned there. Don't try to robotize the way you work today, but use a robot to transform your process. Second POC was on R2R. And on R2R, we tried to bring an existing robot from a provider to try to plug into our accounting system SAP. And we realized that thanks to all the effort on automation of our ERP, we were so advanced in SAP Finance with all the closing cockpit, everything was automatized so well in SAP that we didn't need a robot. So failure. And then here, the third one, the chatbot, where a business case failure to answer on the phone automatically on the question of the user or to chat and to have your immediate answer. It's not that easy. I have to add 2 FTE to complete the answer the robot was not able to give during the day. But that's where the future is, which means artificial intelligence on robot. So to answer your question on scalability, we started with 6 proof of concept. Happy. Today, a year after, we have 21 robots in production only. I'm asking for 100. Why? Why? And that's where I believe my diagnosis, it's because we tried to apply the same rule as what we applied originally to the shared service industry. You can use the green field, a place you don't know, very remote, to implement the first relocation of your activity. For me in Europe was at that time India, Vietnam or whatsoever. So very remote, low labor cost, we call that greenfield. Or you can choose the near shore, the brownfield. The brownfield is where you have already an activity, where you know people. Use that example, and that's my diagnosis today. If you try to implement robot in a brownfield, as soon as you start to scale it up, you are no more in an agile mode. You start to have question of governance, who's the boss for that. You start to develop project with a project team, with a steer co, and then suddenly you are stuck. You have your 2 feet in the mud, you are no more agile, and you take 6 months to get 3 FTE more. I do believe maybe it's time to say, why not to create internally a new place, greenfield, within Solvay, where we immediately only start process from and with the robot, and where the human will control the robot, you know, the famous 2 hands. The robot is 1 hand automatically, but the human is the one who will fix the condition for the robot to operate at the best. So the problem of scalability It's because we are not agile. We suffer ourselves of our own complexity. We became too big. IS is, wait a minute, I need to control the access. Finance, wait a minute, do you have the budget for that? HR, wait a minute, do you have the headcount? And the wait a minute is waiting 6 months, and you lose what I do believe it's a fundamental element of robotic, it's agility. Bottom-up innovation. Let's bubbling up.
And do you think we have been guilty of trying to put the wrong kind of value on robotics? So for example, I've worked with clients who are trying to build a business case that, you put in robot, you're going to take out X number of heads. Is that where the value of robotics lies in your view?
Yes, and I do believe it's, you used the right word. I do believe we made a mistake if we try to put the business case as the reason to make robotics. The business case has to remain as one of the conditions of the success. That means it has to be a consequence. That means you need to operate better, quicker, and cheaper, because it's like the movement in every industry. But for me, if you put the business case as the first reason, look at my chatbot in HR. If I put the business case, I would have stopped it. And it's the only one where I'm excited. Why? Because I do believe by building up on the knowledge, by adding to FTE, I'm preparing the future. Let me tell you what I think are the real fundamentals for robotics. It's first the speed. Because the robot, if you fix your algorithm correctly, and if you make this algorithm living, or if you look at HR, answering the question, it's not the question that the robot doesn't sleep. Is as soon as you have the right algorithm, he can produce it 1,000,000 times. He doesn't need to think, the robot. And I don't want to say thanks God, but that's the beauty of robotization, which means fix clearly the rules and then multiply. First is the speed. The robot can search on 20,000 answers available for you, employee, and pick the one he believes is the closest of your question. Is it really the good one? That's another question. But within a fraction of a second, he can read 20,000 and give you. Look at your Google search engine. It's amazing. You put sentence, word, and putting on the side the marketing reason why they propose you a site. If it's a pure scientific research, bim, bim, bim. First is the speed. Second is the quality of control, the compliance. 1,000,000 times, the robot has no second thought or tiredness to make a mistake. A robot is not making any mistake. Why? Because it's just apply what you said. Your rule is a mistake, but not the robot. Speed, compliance. And then the most important things, the volume. The volume. Let me use an example. Recently, I decided to try to understand why the customer is putting complaint, why the customer is calling us, for which reason, from where, how many times the same question. And we have 1,000,005 tickets. I realized that almost a year, we have 1,000,005 tickets. I try my manager in this global contact center to make an analysis. 6 months after, I just got the statistical volumes. And then I decided, okay, let me run a new experience. I hired 2 students, mathematicians, and I said, look guys, this is 1,500,000 ticket. I don't know what I'm searching, go for it. Make any algorithm you want, make any comparison you want, go. This is my cost center, you tell me. After 3 months, Emma, I got great stuff. I got pattern, start a profile on problem, theme. I got 12 points, I can act on it with those 2 guys, and you know how much they spent? $6,000. So the 3 reasons of robotics, it's speed, compliance, and volume. And when you combine that, then you will have as a consequence, productivity. But please, on productivity, do not terminate people. Use what you will free up as FTE to have this human hand who will make analytics. So the steps is, don't let a human making silly, repetitive things. Let a robot doing it, but be careful, fix the clear rules. When that's done, free the human to make analytics. The future As I said to you, predictive analytics. That's where we will generate value.
So in that picture of the future where you potentially have a robotics capability that is sitting near or just outside of a GBS organisation with a focus within the GBS on analytics, what is the leadership and the talent that you're going to need in that kind of organisation?
Me, of course. No. So why it's not me? The point of people in talent management, it's really at the heart of the question. If you would tell me, you have 20 million, Guy, what would you do? Where you will invest money? I do believe it's in human people. Because what I see today, we started in an industry where it was labor arbitrage. And then we moved to process quality, ISO certification, process standardization. And today, shared service industry, the future, it's leverage technology. And to leverage technology, everybody can buy technology. Everybody. It will even be available on the cloud. You know, these SAS, that means software as a service. You will have RAS, which means robot as a service. So you will not even need to buy that. What will make the difference? Smart people. You need to have the right people at the right time, at the right place, doing the right job, the right way. And the right way is beyond standardization. The right way is the smart way. And the smart way, and it's not this question of millennials, etc., because with millennials, you will have other challenges. The millennials, they just know how to repeat. Do they really know how to think? Yes. Few of them, a lot of them, but you will have to train them for other reason. You are training your people today, but you will have to train them. Amount of training will remain the same. My 20 million, find the right place, and the right place today, it's no more location, it's everywhere. Satellite your shared service where the talent are. Find the talent and try to use to the best of their need, feed their ambition. And if they are gone in a year or two, gone, redo. Build on talent, build on talent. The leadership, it's agility, speed. Guys, leaders, the leaders of the shared service industry. When you are telling me that you need 63 days to answer tickets for an IT project, shame on you. You need 3 hours max. I would love to feel this feeling of urgency, like you feel in the business. Let me use, and I'm not making advertisement for Solvay, but really a very clear example. I will use again this iPhone. When you look, and this is leather, but when you look at the back of the iPhone, the plastic there, the iPhone 6, the plastic, it's a unique resin produced by Solvay for Apple. You know how long it takes in the partnership between Apple and Solvay for Apple to define the iPhone 6 and to define the specs for Solvay to produce enough plastic to build 4 million iPhone 6. How long? 4 months.
Okay.
Here are the business guy in the real life, partnering with a customer, very strategic for them. They are sitting in the same lab. They don't know how the iPhone 6 will look like. And in 4 months, you are on an industrial scale to produce enough sophisticated resin for 4 million. And now you look at shared service and you will say, oh, you want an IT project, but you need to ask permission, you need to ask a budget. We are suffering of our own complexity. We are reacting in days, weeks, months, because we believe that being in administration, we are protected from the reality of the market. I do believe time to open the box, to feel the wind of the business pressure, and that's business partnering. Tell me what you need, whenever you need, and I will do my best from a standardized product to deliver you where you are. Not for you to come in my monster GBS to find who to talk to in order to get your stuff. Simplification, simplification, and speed, the same S.
So if we were having this conversation, Guy, in sort of 5 to 10 years, what does Solvay GBS look like at that point?
Of course, without me, or maybe not. Maybe I will be there as an advisor. I do believe that's the industrial revolution, the fourth one, the digital. I love my hands, I love my body language, so let me just use the example, and this is no more Apple. Let's be kind with Samsung. It could be a Samsung. I don't care what it is. It could be even something there. Or you remember, it was one of the conference when the speaker came with a chip there. This is the place where to put the human chip. So it could be anything. I do believe that 5 years, maybe less, will be SBS, GBS is that. You click, you have a logo, you put your finger, and then I'm doing everything you need. I'm traveling, could you please take care of my travel expense? Yes, sir, no problem. Or I'm a financial manager, I have to go to a tax control, heavy in the UK, could you prepare all the things? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm a sales guy, so I need all the statistics on this customer, and it will not be anymore the Google. And during the time you sleep, in the plane, everything is produced. In the way you want it, because I will know your profile. I will know because you will tell me on the last report what you like, what you didn't like. And from there, I will improve. I will become the iPad of your business life. And it's not a menu. You fingerprint and you tell me what you want. That's the future. From where we are to that future, it's a revolution in the behavior. It's not a revolution technology. Technology are there. Don't blow out the GBS today. No, keep it as a sound foundation. The process, the standardization, the efficiency, the KPI, keep it for you. Don't bother the customer.
So is that your advice then for any organisations out there who are looking to make the start of that journey towards becoming a digital business services? You think it starts with that standardization? What advice would you give?
What I will tell them is at least start with that vision. Need a vision. Because if you want to be a leader we follow, you need not the dream, because what I'm describing to you, Emma, it's my dream because I'm head of operation and I know the gap I have to that. But it's not a dream when you can be consistent in the way you describe it. So yes, get that vision. That means if you start to do a shared service, choose your location to feed that vision. Yeah. Study to choose the people to feed that vision. Or if you have the existing people, train them for that vision. But don't forget that this is a journey. You need to go step by step. So yes, keep your process end to end. Yes, keep your KPI, but measure the right things the right way. Continuous improvement is your everyday job. That dream is to feed talent and your ambition. Then when you have mono shared service, multifunction, GBS, my dream for all those guys is what I did myself. Every time in Solvay, I build the first shared service like I partner to build a GBS, like it would be my own business. And I never made any profit, I give it to the GBU. Because when you have a customer pleased with you, or at least knowing that you care for them, you have a future. Without customer, GBS, Global Business Service, without customer, you don't have a business.
You talk about value, but it has been said sometimes that GBS has destroyed value. What's your perspective on that?
Oh, this is a very intimate question because I love, as a chief of operation, to pretend all the time that we are the best. You know, those benchmarks, so we show benchmark, upper quartile, best in class, etc. So we are very proud to do things right in the GBS. And when you look at creation of value, it's the way you partner with the business. We all want to be business partner. But look at the everyday life. How many times did we really partner? And even worse, how many times did we make the life of our GBU customer miserable? Let me use you a couple of examples. The famous three-ways match. You know, P2P, three-ways match. That means no problem. If you give me an invoice with the right purchase order, with the right acknowledgement of receipt on the plan, no problem, guys, I'll run it. And here I am to try to run the shortest time to treat an invoice. I even talk about the average cost of paying an invoice. The benchmark, if I'm still correct, was around upper quartile to $4. And then you have people saying, no, I'm at $2 per invoice. But in order to be at $2 per invoice, you force a PhD in chemistry in a lab to enter a purchase order to buy a books. And here we are. One way to destroy value is we focus on our process, our performance, and we do not integrate the total cost of an activity. So you can imagine how much is the time and the cost of a PhD versus an operator who will say, doesn't matter, the books you want, I will make your life easier. Other couple of examples. You travel, I travel. Yeah? Travel expense. We force all approval of travel expense. That means I'm forcing roughly 5,000 managers in Solvay Group to look at all the expense. Maybe a few of them, they just click. But look at the fundamentals. We ask 100% of approval. Do you know how many are rejected last year? I made the study. 0.1%.
Okay.
So here I'm forcing 100% of time of 5,000 managers in a group for only 0.1% of rejection. Another example, OTC, order to cash. We are among the best in the world on overdues. That's where we help the business. But look, you want to make a spot sale. During your trip, you are a sales guy, you make a stopover in a city, you are at the bar, the guy is buying you 2 tons of product because you were at the right time, at the right place. But bad luck for you, this is a new customer. He doesn't have credit limit. And so here we ask a credit limit for a spot customer. So those are examples where we are too much inwards looking as a GBS, and by making process standardization, you forgot to look at the big pictures. So my advice on the GBS, when you are matured, that means when you control well your operation, integrate the life of your customer, and try sometimes to give up a little bit on your direct performance to improve their life. And so yes, we destroy. The very last point, look at R2R. Everybody run closing on time. You know, we don't talk to each other by names. We say, oh, you are a D+4 closer. Ah, I'm a D+2 closer. Oh, you know that, okay? That's the benchmark. Yeah, you are a business guy and you would like just to have a mid-month closing because you are in negotiation of making a JV. And for part of your business, this JV will be an assets deal. So it's a very common in business life. This is the essence. You have a physical assets, he has the market, let's make a deal. We make thousands of that. Yeah? Call your people in R2R and ask for a mid-month closing only for that part of your business which is not owned by the same legal entity because in some case we have multi. Look at how we make the life of GBU sometimes miserable. That's where I say, be careful, GBS, when you grow, you create complexity. And that complexity will kill your capacity to grow in partnership with the business.
On that point of improving the life of your customer, where do you stand on self-service? So the client that I'm working for at the moment, we're getting a lot of pushback from the business as we introduce more self-service, that actually we are taking the managers within the business away from their core tasks.
Difficult question, why? Because I have to deliver to you 2 answers which will seem a little bit in conflict, but you can link them. First one, yeah, self-service, bad luck for them. Yeah, it's the same self-service for my bank. When my bank decided to close the branch in my neighborhood, the bank didn't ask my permission. Yeah, it was painful the first time to say, oh, I cannot call John anymore. I have to find a password, da. Today, I cannot live without that. I don't want to talk to John anymore. So guess what? Yes, GBU guys, you like it or not, 2/3 of the shared service industry will go through shared service. If not the majority, 2/3 of 80%. But at the same time, I said to the GBS guys, okay, it's not because you push self-service that you don't have to take care personally of certain customer. Make your own segmentation on not what's a VIP, an executive, but a key customer, a key GBU, business guy growing. And that's where you will see, you will have a massive central system, digitalized, self-service, totally anonymous. You don't know where it's run. It's maybe run with an outsourcer. And then in between, you will have a middle office. And the future of this middle office, we call that in Solvay the service unit. Those are service guys. Those are people, expert, between you, customer, and our huge database. And they will try to customize the outcome if needed, to listen to your needs and to go inside this huge database and group. This is exactly the best bank I have. I will not tell the name, but it's in Belgium because the John I was mentioning to you is my super duper trader. And I have John on chat when I'm online on my trading. And these guys knows me. We sign an agreement on the risk profile, etc. The blah, blah, blah legal stuff. But these guys, we love, we play together. Bam, 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 bam. That's the two things. Self-service on the database, the trading machine, the posting machine, the payroll machine, and then the personalized chat. That's the future. That's where I see the two things.
We've talked about the role of technology in GBS. What's your view of where IS sits in relation to GBS in the future?
Interesting evolution, because look at the name. You asked me about technology and you were describing me as IS, which is Information Services. We don't talk anymore about technology. Not long time ago it was IT, Information Technology. And so what I do believe is that today the question of having IS on one side and the GBS on the other side is just a question of time. The people who are really in the high pace of evolution, you cannot have a service without technology. The IT is the backbone of the service. Without IT, I cannot operate. IT is really the backbone, the heart of my activity as a chief of operation. And at the same time, IT, I want to talk to those IT managers and the CIO, Chief Information Officer. He's not Chief Technology Officer, he's Chief Information Officer. Today, hardware, software, infrastructure, telecom, yeah, you have that under. You are organize your production with that, but you do not appear to your customer by saying, do you need a piece of hardware? Do you need a piece of telecom? You know, when I'm buying this, am I buying an hardware? Am I buying technology? Am I buying a service? I'm almost buying a toy. I love it. I'm listening music, I'm traveling, I'm buying a solution. And so what I do believe is that the technology by itself doesn't sell anymore. My message to the IS people, I said, hardware, software doesn't sell anymore. What you sell is service and even better, innovation solution. So what I do believe is that the GBS and the IS, I don't want to say we talk about the same, we talk about the backbone and we talk about interaction with the customer. Be together. And if you look at the market, this is the trend where you see some CIO becoming chief of GBS. And in Solvay, the chief of GBS became CIO. And then the people will say, yeah, but he doesn't know anything about coding, programming, he's not a technician of telecom, doesn't need. He has the right vision, the right relation with the CEO, and he's a very smart guy. And he will work with a chief technology officer, a very smart lady we recently hired. This lady will really here manage all the connection, all the cyber risk, everything. The same thing and it's not Apple who's managing that for me, it's Google, it's every solution provider they manage. So my message is CIO, CTO, GBS whatsoever, no, global business service. Have the IS as the integral part of a GBS and have your CIO thinking about digitalization, robotization, transformation, and have in your organization a chief technical operation, technology officer, the same as you have a chief of operation. So I'm serving the running part, the human, the facility, the process, and she's running the technology. And we have a call together every week.
So if you're not in that unique position or lucky position that you're in, say, of having IS so linked with GBS, what would you say to those organisations? Is that going to inhibit them from moving forward? How do you work in partnership if you don't have IS within GBS?
I know that with you, I don't have to ask permission to be provocative. So I would just be naturally. I said, if they are separate, suffer silently, as you used to do for many years, but not passively. That means IT, stop to work and to fight as I own the technology and I will dictate the solution. No, today you are in a market of customer pull. I choose, again, I have to let it on the table, but again, I choose it. I choose it. Yeah, Apple make a product push or Samsung, they make advertisement. The technology guys make that attractive. So I want to say the IT guy, don't force the same laptop in the company. Go immediately or bring your own device. And be the head of cybersecurity. Be the head of innovation. Be the head of the new algorithm. Be the head of data lake. Guide me with your technology in the right direction. And the other guys, the GBS, stop to try to be the owner only of the process. I'm the process owner. That means what? You will be the owner of the only way to work, to pay an invoice in the world? No, come on, come on. So this is the best partnership. Bring technology, bring your knowledge on the service, and in between, you put a customer relationship manager who will define the needs and pull out of that the need for the customer.
Guy, it's always a pleasure to talk to you. Thank you very much for your time today, and we'll look forward to seeing you in our conference in Prague this year.
Thank you.
Very
My
much.
pleasure. Thank you
Thank
too,
you.
Emma.